Hi, welcome to Mercatus Executive Insights. Joining me today is Scott Hobart, Vice President of Finance at Mercatus, and today we'll be discussing how flawed investment decision-making process affects power producers' ability to achieve profitable growth. Scott, thanks for joining me. It's great to have you here. In your experience working with a lot of energy companies over the years, can you tell me why you think power producers are struggling to achieve both growth and profitability?
Yeah, there's two primary reasons that we found in talking to CFOs and CEOs that have popped out to us. And one is that the whole process around business development and the financial modeling is very complex and cumbersome and very time consuming. And then two, what we're seeing is it's an incremental 100 to 200 basis points of risk added to cost of capital because of the complexity of this business model.
So those are two severely worrying statements that you just made. Can you explain a little bit more detail how the current processes associated with the investment committee are limiting new business growth?
Yeah, what we're seeing is roughly 50 to 70% of the projects that just start the process into the investment committee get rejected. And that's typically due to the lack of information that's needed to get through the investment committee, or the siloed thinking around the different functional areas and incohesive processes around putting the financial model together. And there's a disconnect between business development and the investment committee on the expectations of what should be delivered for a project. And this is a very distracting and frustrating experience for both sides of that business.
So it's pretty surprising to hear that something as standard as an investment committee, right, where every project has to pass through some sort of approval phase, is so labor and time intensive. You also mentioned that power producers have significantly incurred a higher cost of capital. Why is this the case?
Yes, there's a lot of new players involved in this market now, and there's a lot of aggregation going on. So investors are less likely to give them premium cost of capital. The vast amount of information that needs to be gathered, the manual processes around gathering the data and entering it into a financial model, there's a lot of risk involved with that. And investors are just not as comfortable giving them the same cost of capital, and it sometimes costs an additional 100 to 200 basis points.
So you described both of these processes at length and their inefficiencies, but what is the real impact that slow growth, lost profitability has on the modern energy executive?
It's a struggle for them to reach the number of projects through the investment committee that they need to support the business model. And I think it's causing a lot of frustration in the organization, potentially causing turnover. And if they're not meeting their investment goals that they've made to the investors, it could have bigger implications for their roles going forward in the business. So they need to do something new.
Well, Scott, thanks. This was a really interesting conversation. Appreciate you joining us today. Thanks for watching this episode of Mercatus Executive Insights. For more information, visit the Mercatus website at gomercatus.com. Thanks for watching.